Noise is unwanted sound. It is a product of our environment and it affects almost everyone. Yet most people don't understand how noise is perceived, measured, or controlled. The most common outdoor noise that we are exposed to is traffic noise. Most of us work, play, and live near busy roadways. Those of us who live near busy interstate highways are affected by the noise of thousands of vehicles a day. There are ways to minimize our exposure to highway noise. The Virginia Department of Transportation is committed to providing effective, practical noise reduction to eligible communities that will experience increased traffic noise resulting from new highway projects. This video will help you understand how traffic noise can be reduced in communities near busy roadways. It will also explain how VDOT works with communities to determine which new road projects should include noise-reducing measures. Since everyone's hearing sensitivity and perception of sound is unique and subjective, we rate sounds with an objective rating system in units called decibels. When we measure or predict traffic noise levels, we take into account the variations in our sensitivity by using what's called the A-weighted scale. This scale best represents the range of human hearing. The threshold of hearing is just above 0 decibels. A soft whisper would be about 30 decibels, and a gentle rain would be around 40 to 50 decibels. Noise levels in a typical office, with people talking, ringing phones, copy machines, and ventilating systems, might be around 60 decibels. At about 120 decibels, we start to feel pain. At close range, a military jet takeoff would be around 140 decibels. Within 100 feet of a busy highway, sound levels typically fall in the 60 to 80 decibel range. The measurement of sound is unlike other mathematical measurements we're accustomed to. If there is an existing sound source and we add another sound source that is equally as loud, there will only be a 3 decibel increase in the overall sound. For example, let's say this traffic is creating 60 decibels of sound. If the traffic volume is doubled, it will add another 60 decibels. However, 60 decibels plus 60 decibels add up to only 63 decibels of sound. If you are standing beside the roadway, you may or may not notice the 3 decibel increase. It takes about a 10 decibel increase for you to perceive the noise is twice as loud. During a 24-hour period along a busy roadway, traffic noise levels rise and fall as traffic volumes and the types of vehicles change. The louder traffic usually occurs during the daytime hours. VDOT determines the need for noise barriers based on the average noise level during the loudest hour of the day. This measurement is called an equivalent sound level. To determine the need for controlling the noise that would be generated by a highway project, VDOT calculates the existing equivalent sound level and then predicts what traffic noise changes might occur if the proposed highway were built. If our studies indicate that there will be a need to control noise, we then consider measures that will effectively reduce decibel levels. The most practical method for controlling noise is to place a barrier between the noise source and the listener. Because sound waves bend over and around objects, a barrier cannot totally eliminate noise. However, a noise barrier like this one can be highly effective at reducing sound levels. Noise barriers absorb some sound waves and redirect some sound waves back toward the roadway. To be effective, a barrier must block the line of sight between the noise source and the listener. The barrier must also be continuous with no openings or gaps that would allow the sound to pass through. If you can see vehicles on the highway, around, or over a barrier, it will not effectively control noise. Earth berms are also quite effective at controlling noise and can be aesthetically pleasing, but they cannot always be considered because they will take up quite a bit more space than a sound wall. Vegetation provides little, if any, traffic noise control. Dense vegetation at least 100 feet thick is needed to reduce traffic noise by 5 decibels. Trees and bushes should be considered for the look they provide, not for their noise control abilities. The most noise reduction anyone can expect from a noise barrier is roughly 15 decibels, with 5 to 10 decibels being more common. This demonstration will show you the noise reduction that results from the proper installation of a sound barrier. The noise level difference is roughly 10 decibels, a typical reduction in sound. Now that we understand more about how traffic noise is measured and controlled, let's talk about VDOT's noise abatement policy. Noise studies are performed on projects that increase traffic capacity. For example, widening a highway from 2 to 4 lanes. Noise studies are also performed whenever a completely new road is built, or when the location of an existing road is shifted substantially or raised in elevation. These studies consider the impact of noise in outdoor locations where people spend time in activities that benefit from a quiet environment, including residential areas, churches, schools, and parks. The Virginia Department of Transportation follows federal guidelines when considering the construction of sound barriers. In Virginia, if projected equivalent sound levels for a new highway project meet or exceed the noise criteria, noise abatement must be considered. For residential properties, the criterion is 66 decibels. Noise abatement must also be considered if projected equivalent sound levels are substantially greater than current levels. VDOT defines a substantial increase as a difference of 10 decibels or greater between existing and future noise levels. Noise abatement is considered, but not always provided when traffic noise impacts occur. Part of the evaluation focuses on whether abatement is feasible and reasonable. Feasibility deals primarily with engineering considerations, such as whether the abatement would be effective in controlling the noise, and if it is possible to build at a particular location due to topography, drainage, safety, and maintenance. To determine if a noise reduction measure is reasonable, according to Federal Highway Administration and VDOT criteria, VDOT uses data calculations and opinion surveys. The data calculations involve the size of the noise barrier and the number of properties benefited. The calculations also involve the achievement of a specific decrease in the noise affecting areas where people live, work, play, and worship in the community. Opinion surveys are used to determine how many local residents actually want the noise barrier constructed. If you'd like more information about the calculations and surveys used to determine if a noise barrier is feasible and reasonable, please contact your VDOT district office. Information can be found at www.virginiadot.org. Let's go over the process one more time. First, a noise study is done on federally funded roadway projects to determine what additional noise a road project will generate. Second, if noise impacts are predicted, noise abatement is considered. Third, if noise abatement is determined to be feasible and reasonable, noise abatement is offered to reduce sound levels. VDOT involves the public in this decision-making process. Members of VDOT's project team will contact the community members most affected by the proposed project to listen to their concerns about noise and discuss the noise control options that are available. Aesthetic treatments may be available on the portion of the barrier that faces residential properties. VDOT works with the community to help them choose a design that is attractive, feasible, and reasonable. Public involvement is taken seriously. If the majority of people in a community do not want a barrier, the barrier will not be built. Keep in mind that no final decisions about sound wall placement or design are made until all environmental and engineering studies and processes are completed and the highway project is in its final design stage. Here are some examples of barrier designs to give you an idea of the options that may be available to your community. We hope this video has helped you understand how traffic noise can be reduced and how noise barrier construction decisions are made. VDOT wants you to be involved in making informed decisions about where noise barriers will go and how they will look. If you have questions or concerns about the impact of a proposed highway project or VDOT's noise abatement policies, contact your VDOT district office. Phone numbers and other contact information can be found on the web at www.virginiadot.org.